What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Movie X Kicks, and as you can see, I have a special mug slash It totem pole. So I'm sure you know this is the review of It Chapter 2 coming up right after this. It Chapter 2 pretty much takes place 27 years after the original. If you can remember, in the first It, the band of the losers banded together to thwart the evil Pennywise, and they also made a promise to each other that if Pennywise was to ever come back, they would all return back to Derry to thwart him at once again. And in keeping that promise, their friend Mike, who still lives in the town, calls all the losers up 27 years later and to remind them that it has come back and they must all return to Derry to pretty much fight it for the last and final time. I have to say, this movie was just okay. I was a little disappointed in this movie. I mean, it had such a great cast. Bill Skarsgård as It was amazing. Like, he was pretty much the quintessential best thing in this movie. But it's, to me, almost it's like they replaced this movie with a gore factor, like almost like what these new movies are doing. They kind of replaced gore with scary, and that's one thing that I think that a lot of scary movies are missing. Like, you can't replace scary with, just because you see extra blood and, guts. It's like, that's not scary, that's just more disgusting. And it's almost like they start to go that route than the kind of like the ominous It first one, back in 2017. I thought that had a little more oomph to it. I just thought that was kind of a refreshing genre in the role of horror. Like, we had never really seen a clown as scary as Bill Skarsgård's character of It. And I just loved how he got in a whole dark place. I've seen an interview of how he got in a dark place. Like, he was actually separated from the entire cast of the kids when they were going, when they were facing the kids. Like, none of the kids actually saw him. He said it was one scene where one of the kids saw him and they actually started crying. He was just like, he was just deep into it, and he was just like, he goes, when you say action, I'm in character, and that entailed stayed with this. Like, I could just tell, like, he was Pennywise all the way, like, and he was still just sadistic as in this one as he was in the first. Now, I will say the bad thing about this movie was the pacing. Now, this movie is pretty much 3 hours. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. You might as well just round and say it's a 3 hour movie. Now, the original It book is, from what I hear, is like almost like a Bible. It's extra thick. And if you remember from the first It, we knew there was going to be a chapter 2. I seen the original. I've never read the book, so I know there's a couple there's a couple differences between the book and the actual movies. So don't bite my head off. I'm really not a book reader. I saw the original Scream, not the original TV show in the '90s, back a couple years ago, and it was like a 5-part series, so that was 5 hours. So this last movie was pretty much going to be 2 hours or 2 hours plus, so almost 3 hours. But to me, I just thought the pacing of this movie was just so slow. I don't mind a long movie as long as it's paced well, and it was just some scenes to me that they could have cut out. And they had to basically go back and forth between their childhood from 27 years ago, the summer after they just defeated Pennywise. The movie kind of took place like in between those time periods of gaps when they were kids, so they would have to go back between time periods of when they were little kids and back. And I thought the CGI of the kids, like, to me, it was almost like they shot this movie right after the first one. Some people said they could tell, like, the CGI and the kids, that they basically age them younger because they do get older, and it's supposed to be, right after It Chapter 1 when they were kids. So, but to me, everything for all these kids looked exactly like they were kids. Like, to me, I thought they just started shooting. They must have started shooting It Chapter 2 right after It Chapter 1, because I didn't see any age in the kids or their voice difference. I just thought it was flawless. Like, whatever aging mechanism they used, it worked perfectly, because I didn't see them. I thought it was just them as the same age. But, obviously they're 2 years older, so they're 13, they're 15 and 16 probably now, but they still look 13 to me once when they were filming. Now, to me, the adult versions of the kids were great. I mean, the cast is great. You have James McAvoy, Bill Hader, Isaiah Mustafa, Jay Ray, and James Ranson. I just thought they pretty much were the quintessential characters of their kids. Like they mirrored them perfectly. As adults, and they hit it on the head perfectly. Bill Hader to me, I think was Richie. I think that was his character. He pretty much killed it. Like he was, I think, one of the more standout roles in this movie. His character was pretty good. Like he was more comedic. Like if you can remember from the first one, he always kind of had the jokes, and he actually went on to become a comedian as an adult. And so it kind of continued in this movie. He was just kind of like the funny, lighthearted person that needed, a little add a little humor to the dark sense of the movie. So, but a big aspect from what I hear that they didn't add in the movie, which they could have. Well, I don't think they could have because it would have been very controversial. But in the book, the kids actually have an orgy and they all lose their virginity to Beverly in this kind of controversial orgy. So, but they did not go down that path. Probably because, like I said, these are kids. So, but that was another thing that I know a couple people were talking about that was kind of controversial that they left out. And I'm surprised this movie hasn't caught a lot of flack from the Glass Association because it was a lot of homophobic slurs that were thrown around in this movie. In the very beginning of this movie, there were just a lot of homophobic words that were thrown around, and then throughout the midst of the movie as well. So I'm surprised they haven't touched. No one has beaten down their door. But I think, like I said, in the book it had that. But still, that was some things they didn't have to add in there. It didn't really offend me, but I was like, ooh, they're gonna ruffle some feathers on this one. But in all, I thought that it was a good way to end the movie. I wasn't too sure about the ending. It kind of lingered on, like I said, a little too long than I originally thought it should have been. Like I said, it was like almost 3 hour movie. I think they could have nailed it down to about 2:30, 2:45 in my opinion. But the general census, it still was the number one movie. It still made 91 million. The original from a couple years ago made 121 million opening week. So it still did very well for a rated R movie. So I mean, this ends the saga. There will be no more It after this. So that's why I wanted to get this little collectible. Thanks, Tina. It was my day for the night. She got me this. I'm going to put it up probably in the back right here with all the other things. And it's going to be up there. I'm not going to take it out the case because I like the collectors. But let me know, guys. Have you seen It Chapter 2? What did you think of it? Did you like the original first? Did you like the original better? I like the original better. Or did you like this one? Do you think it could have had a better ending or what? Leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie. As always, please subscribe. Mr. Movie X Kicks is out. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later.